Hello, welcome to Modern Jewelry Creators. This week I am going to share tons of designs with you on how you can use your chain rems, remnants, leftover pieces of chain from projects that you might just toss out normally. I don't want you to do that. I'm going to show you some fabulous ways to use them coming up. If we are just meeting, my name is Vicki LaRoe. Thanks again for selecting this video. I love sharing different jewelry making tips and techniques and ideas from my almost 3 decades in the jewelry making industry as a jewelry designer, instructor, bead shop owner. Each week on this channel, I'll share new designs and some new products that hopefully can give you some inspiration of ways that you can design your jewelry or use things you have at home. Oftentimes the things I show are available on our website as well. So either way, I hope you'll consider subscribing and joining us here each weekend for some new jewelry. So, like I mentioned at the top of the video, chain remnants. We sell our beautiful chain by the foot. And a foot doesn't do much, really, unless you're going to do a bracelet maybe. So that's 7 or 8 inches, and then you've got 4 inches left over. Or you're going to do a necklace, so you maybe need 2 feet, 24 inches, but you want it 22, so you've those 2 inches left over, and you just toss them out. I don't want you to do that. I'm going to show you some great ways to use them. First, though, I'm going to quickly show you the new components and kits we do have for this week, though, because it's only a few. The first one is this new lovely satin component. I call it like an open marquee. I think it's so pretty. It's a good size for an earring or a pendant, really lightweight. It's got the little loop inside to dangle or off the bottom. And of course, I have it in the silver, satin silver, and the brushed gold. Very beautiful. They're like $2.50 a piece, so very economical as well. Got a few random things with this little dogwood flower pendant. She's very pretty with lots of like filigree openings in it, so you could definitely like weave beading on it and do some different designs on there. So I just got her, so I need to play with her. Last week I showed you this little cathedral kind of flower pendant in silver. Well, I got her in gold, but she came in smaller. I got the petite version. So a couple different sizes available now that I have on the website. Another thing I showed last week were these beautiful little hoops that we just got in. And just the hoop finding. And I made a design like this, and then I decided to go ahead and make them as a kit, because when I fall in love with the design, I just tend to make a lot of them for some reason. So here is one design. This is using just the crystal and a shell pearl, and you could adjust this length for whatever's comfortable for you as well. And then the one I have on is in ruby. I used a ruby as the drop, and then a pink freshwater pearl as the drop in the back. So both kits are available. The one with the crystal and the shell pearl are $16, and this one with the ruby and the freshwater pearl is $26. I'll leave all the links below. But also we have just a little hoop finding available, which are just a really beautiful quality. I love them a lot. I shared them in last week's video and just thought this was a fun design. So the other new kit I made with that little marquee finding I just showed you. Now, I got it maybe a little carried away and decided to put this kit together, and you can make it in either design. So you can do it with the little chain and the ring in the middle, and the crystal at the bottom, or you can do another piece of chain and dangle that. So there's enough materials in the kit to do either design, either way. And then there's 2 colors available. And so this is a topaz rose, so it's kind of topazy and plummy, and this is Montana mist, so it's a deep blue with a light blue. And it's in silver or gold. I just wasn't sure how to do all these samples without making 8 different pairs. So I did. Here's the gold version in the Montana mist, and the gold in the topaz rose, the 2 different designs. So I'll link that kit below. She's $17.50, but I think this is a fun way to use this little component. Okay, that is all that news. Let's move on to chain rims, because that's the other thing both these kits use is chain remnants to make them. So earrings are the obvious choice, and definitely you want to keep them for earrings for sure. When I save mine, I keep them sorted by metal color, and then sometimes I'll keep them even sorted by fine chains and something heavier as well. But do not toss them, not even an inch. So the most obvious or most useful way is to do your extension chains on your necklaces for the back, right? So especially for a shorter necklace, it's so nice, especially as a gift or if you're selling, to make sure you've got 1.5 to 2 inches of an extension chain if you're using a hook style clasp, because then you can adjust the length. And so I think that's so nice. I have that on almost all my necklaces. So that's one of the most obvious, ways to keep, and that needs a specific type of chain, so just a heavier link chain. This similar chain, this is also could be used for extension chain. I use them to make this tassel. So there's a little crystal at the top that you can put through a cord, can go through the top or a chain. But then I use these different chains, and I mixed the bright silver and the gunmetal, and mixed different styles even, right, to make these really pretty tassels. I think each one's about 1.5 to 2 inches. So very, very cute. This is another popular pendant, tassel pendant, that uses ball chain on the bottom. And this is where you'd be like, what am I going to do with 3 or 4 inches of leftover ball chain? Well, this is what, right? So that makes a cute little tassel pendant there. Okay. And let's see, I will show you earrings in a second, but I want to show. So if your piece of chain you have left over, let's see how long this is. I think it's like 5 inches. And I want to do a bracelet. If my piece of chain is not long enough for a bracelet, well, there's a couple different ways to lengthen it in a way. So in this piece, I used a larger clasp. So this size toggle is already going to give me like an extra, 1.5 inches there. Then to attach the chain to the clasp, I put a wire wrap pearl there. You know what? I'm going to tip you down for a second so we can look at these maybe a little bit better. See if that, you can see it a little bit better. But does that make sense? So I just did this wire wrap pearl from the chain to each piece. And this is helpful as a toggle anyway, right? Because coming right off the bar side, you need this to be a small, this can't be a really large bead because this needs to fold on itself to work, right? So this is a way of using a 5-inch piece of chain and making it into a beautiful, 7.5-inch bracelet by using a larger clasp and these little wire wrap pearls there. And then, and especially something like this is our dancing gems. This has a lot of gemstones and expensive beads on it, and so, the shorter it is, you still get the impact without as much work and expense, I guess is a good way to think about it. This bracelet was done a similar way. Majority of this bracelet is done with this little chain. You might have seen this type of chain at a gem show or something that comes already all linked together like this with different gemstones or pearls or whatever, but normally it's pretty pricey, $12 to $15 a foot, say. If I want to do this multi-strand bracelet with it, and I'm trying to find an economical way to do it, well, actually, 3 of the 9 strands I have here are done like this. So I used some larger crystal that works with it color-wise, and then these little pieces of chain in between. And these are the same chain, but it could easily be different. Actually, these 2 styles are different, right? They could be different styles. You wouldn't even be able to tell, because the idea is just the impact of how it looks together. And I did the same thing here too, where I used just large crystals at the ends. And so this piece, the body, is probably only about 5 inches, 4.5, 5 inches, right? And this is where all the money is again. So if you're doing a gift or to sell, it's just things to be cognizant of, and it's really beautiful, right? I mean, it turned out gorgeous. I really think those larger beads actually add a lot to it and cut down on expense. Who knew? This is the last bracelet I'll show you. Same idea. It's a little piece of chain in the middle. Piece is a larger bracelet, and then I did a wire wrap pearl from the chain to the piece. So this piece of chain is actually only about 4.5, 5 inches, but it works for this bracelet from just wire wrapping it to the clasp. Okay, let's look at some other little pieces. So the same way when I kind of showed that tassel before, right, with all these little pieces, this bracelet is actually separate pieces of chain as well. Even though it looks like one, it's not. This is 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, and it's knotted between with this beautiful bronze leather. So this was a design that we did, but it's actually separate pieces of chain. And these happen to all be the same style, but they wouldn't have to be. They just need to be the same size. But that design is really fun. And then I'm going to show you this last necklace, and then I'll pull you up to look at some earrings. So I love this piece, but these are just chain rims here, right? To make this transition from the pendant to the chain, I folded over 2 little pieces of chain and looped them inside of one another. So it's really a beautiful transition, but they're only 1-inch pieces of chain, right? It's beautiful ways of using little 1-inch pieces. So I'm going to give you back up and show you a few earring designs, because it's a little easier to show this way, I think. Whew, sorry. I've been filming all day, and it's hot here in the Northwest, and so I apologize too for the fan, if you can hear the fan, and between all the lights and the fan and clothes, I've got like a rash from the summer that I can't seem to hide, but yet I'm trying to cover it up with clothing so you don't see it, but it's sweaty and hot. I'm not complaining, I promise. I'm blessed. I love life. It's fantastic. It's just warm. Earrings. Let's start with earrings. So this is like a matching earring to that dragonfly, but I've only used 1-inch pieces here on the sides. Right, it's maybe hard to see that, but little 1-inch pieces that go up to the top. This is not one piece, it's 2 separate pieces that go into that wire wrap with the little clusters on the top. Very pretty, very easy. Something like a big tassel like this out of a cap, really pretty. But this uses a good chunk of chains, right? That's probably a couple feet of chains there. But if you didn't have that many or that much of it, this is the same idea, but just lighter and less of them, right? So that also, and these are all different lengths even, and that makes a beautiful earring too, right? So similar design ideas, but just depending on what chain you have and the design of it, it will all work. So even these are one of my favorite pairs I wear all the time. Boop, one piece of chain. I think it's about 1.5 inches long, that goes from that lovely ear wire to the cap with the gemstones underneath. But that's all it is the one long piece of chain that I love. These little spiral earrings are one of the most popular designs, and it just uses a 1/2-inch piece, a 1-inch piece and a 1/2-inch piece of this tiny chain in the middle. So again, it's a great example of just not tossing out those little bitty pieces of chain. This is really similar. This uses even the same chain. This is a little piece we did with black onyx crystals, and that little bitty piece of chain is only about a 1/2 inch there. This is a lovely little earring. So very, very cute. Okay, I'll show you just a couple last ones. Oh, no, this is a leverback. So this one's maybe a little more intense work, but it doesn't use that much chain still, and it makes a very beautiful piece or earring. So this is when the chain is really a lot of the design, but it still doesn't use much of it. It's probably it's 3 inches and then another, so about 4 inches of chain or so. But yeah, she's beautiful. Oh, and even the ball chain. This is also another really popular kit. And you're like, this is only, what am I going to do with 1.5 inches of ball chain? How about that? How about that? How about those? I love this little earring kit. So, she's so pretty. Beautiful. And that's just the ball chain going through that too. So pretty. So, there are just a few. There are many, many more ideas. I'm sure actually behind me there's a ton. There's tassel here, this tassel. Oh, this is a good one. And you're like, Vicki, the video's over. I know. This is a cute one too. I did that same similar like, well, that's good. Clonk. Let's make it all a thing. But where I crossed the transition, like with that dragonfly, but I did this with the little triangle. Right, so it's just a little fold over piece of chain to do the transition there. And then I did it almost as a bail, and then as the tassel. Right, that's a little golden triangle piece. And then it has another rim as the extension chain. So anyway, I'm sure there's many, many others since I use them all the time. I think that's about all of them. Whew. I'm not drinking, though I could be. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock. I don't know what time it is. This is sparkling water and aloe vera juice, and then mint and cucumber. It's very hydrating, which is very nice on days like this. But I think that's everything. There's our designs I wanted to share. I love our chain. I love our chains. I love using them. And like I said, I keep all the remnants sorted and separate because I'm going to use them all the time. So I definitely want you to hang on to yours, and hopefully this was helpful. I will link all our new kits below. This is really just quickly becoming one of my favorite earring designs. Oh, I used the little chain rim here too as the little bail. See, cute. See, some endless possibilities. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you back here next weekend. And until then, sparkle brightly like the star that you are. Mwah! Peace.